It was in that space that people really connected to the brand in a different way. They really started to connect to the brand to each other.
Close to Home Studio presents Resilient Small Businesses, Brooklyn Edition, with me, Mo Mullen. A series of conversations with extraordinary, resilient entrepreneurs sharing what they've learned and how they've adapted this past year. Join me for insights and inspiration as we uncover how to thrive in this increasingly unpredictable world. I believe the future is local, and I hope this series will help you connect more deeply to your place and understand what it truly means to live close to home. I am delighted to be here with Jules Bakshi, the founder and owner of Good Move. Jules, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mo. I'm so excited to be here. Hi, everybody. As Mo mentioned, I'm Jules Bakshi. I'm the founder and owner of Good Move. We are a dance and mindful fitness studio for movers of all levels, genders, shapes, and sizes based in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
So in July 2019, you put basically almost all of your life savings into a business that you opened, Good Move. Tell me about the opening. How did it go?
The opening was a little bit rough. Of course, the construction took a lot longer than we all thought it was going to take. And the permitting took a lot longer than we thought it was going to take. By the time we thought we were going to be open, it was like clear that that was just not, we were going to have to keep pushing the date back. And it was my first time. Everyone warned me, like, it's going to take longer than you think. And they were absolutely right. Thankfully, had no idea what I was getting into, because if I had known, then I wouldn't have done it. But I was just absolutely gung-ho, threw myself into this massive building project, and had no idea what I was doing. So it was a lot of anxiety, but also now I know that these things just take longer than you think they're going to. And once it's done, it's like worth getting it done right rather than to get the space open a few weeks earlier.
And how was business? So coming out of the gate, how did it go?
Slow, was really slow at first. I mean, we had people coming through the door, which astonished me because I didn't spend a dime on marketing. I hadn't marketed. I spent all the money on the build out. And so the studio itself was the advertising. So I was sort of banking on the beauty of the space and the intrigue of the space, which was really beautiful, to attract passersby. We had a big front window, and that is actually what happened. So the people who came in because they walked by and they were like, "What's this?" And either walked in and like said hi and started chatting, or came back later in the week for class. So it really was all word of mouth. And so there's sort of like two things that happened, which was like, I was just delighted that people were coming through the door, but I also didn't have nearly enough people coming in.
So when did it start picking up?
It started, so we opened officially in July. The build out lasted from January 2019 through like to July. May was when we were supposed to open. And I planned this whole big opening party for May. But even though the studio was mostly ready by May, the permits took a lot longer and we technically couldn't operate until July. So July was our official opening. So summer was really slow. And then October started to pick up, November started to pick up, and it was just like October, November, December. By December, we were like, whoa, we were filling up classes, adding classes. December was amazing. January was amazing. February was amazing. And then March 2020 happened and we had to shut down.
The infamous March 2020. So what did you do?
We closed the studio a few days before Cuomo had mandated that fitness studios shut down. And we did that because we had no idea. No one had any idea what was really happening at that time. Most of us, I think, assumed that max we would be shut down for a couple of weeks. Nobody thought this was going to be over a year. At that time, a bunch of my instructors had already kind of told me that they weren't comfortable coming in. I was completely maxed out, and I was also extremely exposed. I just thought, I don't want this space to be the place where like a bunch of people get infected. So I made the decision to close a few days before the mandate came through. I was really worried about losing the revenue from being shut, especially because we had just started to pick up momentum. So I reached out to one of our members, Zoe Purdy, who is an internet wizard, and I asked her if she would help me build an online platform so that we could have a TV channel, essentially, like a subscription based TV channel online. She was like, "Yeah, we can do this. Here are the options." Within 2 weeks of the shutdown, we had built Good Move TV. And by we built it, I mean that Zoe built the back end of the site, and I went into the studio by myself with my iPhone and filmed as many classes as I could. The first few days, I had a couple of friends and instructors who were like willing to come in and film with me. This was before we like knew what was going to happen. And then after that, when like the shutdown really, became lockdown, it was just me going in with my iPhone and filming content and uploading it. So that was pretty gnarly, especially considering that I got COVID. Like that same within the 2 weeks of the shutdown, I had COVID, like early days. Because of course I got it because I was completely exposed teaching all the classes inside.
It's extremely inspiring that you did that in 2 weeks, that you literally launched a Good Move TV in 2 weeks is incredible. I remember there were some other people who also really rallied early days for you. Just kind of, I know you had to pull back on staff. Was it your receptionist who just kind of came to you and said, like, I'm here, I'm on the team no matter what? Will you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. Part of like the reason that it was so obvious to me that like I have to keep this going is because I knew how much the space meant to a lot of different people. And it was like these were not like my friends or my, people that I knew or who watched me build it. I mean, some of them were, but most of them were people that came to Good Move in that first 7 months that we were open and had a spiritual experience or an emotional experience or both and felt connected to that space. Gabby Cortez, one of my receptionists, is one such person who came to Good Move for the first time to take a class, like really was blown away by how she felt welcomed into the space and was able to get in touch with her dancerly side, which she, I think, had not been in touch with for a very long time. And she, after taking her first class, was like, I want to work here. So that's how she became one of our receptionists. And then as soon as we shut down, of course, I had no idea how long it was going to be. I was really concerned about revenue. I was really concerned about just having no idea where this was going to go and how I was going to manage. And a few different staff members were like, "Hey, we're here for you. Like what, let us know what you need." But Gabby was like, "I don't care if I get paid. Like I am here for whatever you need. And I know that I haven't done anything for you except reception, but like whatever you need help with at this point, I will do it." I never asked her to work for free, but I was so moved by the fact that it was not about like, "Hey, I'm desperate for work right now," which like, of course, that's totally legit also. But she didn't say that. She was just like, "I want this to succeed and I will do whatever it is that you need." At a certain point, I was like, "You're hired," again as like chief of ops, because like I need your help. And she was such a huge asset during that time. I could not have done it without her help.
Well, I mean, I think that's just one of, I know many examples that, are so illustrative of how people appreciate and value what you've built and what Good Move represents and the container that it creates for them to explore themselves and grow and expand. And you have all of these people, whether it's, friends, but also community members and customers, and people who have just kind of come together to continue to make it what it is. I had a chance to speak to a few of your different customers. I have not had a chance to go to Good Move yet. It's on my short list as soon as I am get a chance to be back in Brooklyn full time, and you're open, and I can't wait. But I did have a chance to catch up with a few of your customers, and I wanted to read you something that one of them said about their experience with Good Move. So, Good Move is a place where I feel like I can be the most me, the most authentic, the most free version of myself. It's a place where I can connect with my body while feeling held and supported. It's a place where I can lose myself and have fun.
You're gonna make me
That was
cry.
one of was one of several quotes that made me cry as well. um, but one of the incredible things about Good Move is that you've created this container where there's a degree of openness where people can really play with and evolve their own personal identity. And they do it in community, which is what's so special about it. So I'm curious from you just to hear a little bit more about what your greatest ambition was for Good Move and what are some of the components of the Good Move experience that make this possible.
My background is as a professional modern dancer, choreographer, health coach, Pilates instructor, all of these things that revolve around self care, self love, and expression. And I really wanted to create a place where I could offer people tools for coming into deeper and more compassionate relationships with themselves, their bodies, and with themselves. As a dancer and a dancerly person, the infinite wisdom of the body is something that is like intuitive to a lot of dancers or a lot of dancerly people. But somewhere along the journey, along my journey, I realized that certain things that were obvious to me, or not obvious, but that were calling to me, um, were certainly not obvious to non dancing people. And also, alongside with that, that there was for me a major disconnect in the fitness and wellness spaces that I was seeing and going to and practicing in, um, where I didn't feel like anyone could just show up as they were, but that actually there was sort of a more maybe aspirational is the word, or like the spaces felt like you have to transform to belong here, not you already belong here as you are. And they are giving themselves permission to be curious and to think about what really feels good, and not just think about, but feel into what their bodies really want and what their bodies really need.
I mean, the ability to do that in community with people, and in such a safe space is one of the things that's really unique and special about Good Move. So changing gears a little bit, I know a lot of small business owners have negotiated or have tried to negotiate their rent over the last year with their landlords. And it's been a very challenging and difficult process for a lot of the small business owners that I've connected with. Will you tell us a little bit about your experience specifically? I would love to hear about the moment when you knew that you needed to turn back in your keys.
So I trusted that we were going to find a solution. The short story, because it's actually a very, very long, complicated story. The short story is that uh, they threatened to sue me if I left, if I broke the lease. We entered into a, let's see, this was like May, June, July, August, September, October, November, like basically a 7-month legal battle, which was extremely taxing on me. Probably one of the reasons why I wasn't able to recover fully and had chronic pain during that whole time was because of the stress of all this. I thought they were threatening that if I left, that they would that they were going to keep me in court for years, that they would say things to me and text things to me like, your life is going to be, your legal fees are going to go through the roof if you do X, Y, and Z. And I mean, they were very threatening, and I was scared. Of course I was scared. I was like, I can't
Understand.
what am I going to do? I can't be in a lawsuit. Like, I can hardly run the business right now with all of this stress. And there was no precedent for this. It's not like anybody knew how to handle this. The lawyers didn't even know how to handle it. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say I got lucky, even though in the moment I didn't feel like I got lucky because my heart was shattered into a million pieces. But I'm going to go ahead and just say that I got lucky, because in retrospect, I am lucky to be out of that. They offered me a deal and I took it. And it was still a huge loss to me, but it was not nearly as big a loss as it would have been if I had been tied up in a lawsuit for goddess knows how long.
I can imagine you were feeling just not only heartbroken, but exhausted and just, beyond a point of frustration. What kept you going?
The community, for sure. It's never been the Jules show. Good mood, and I think I joked about this with you before, like, but that's never what I wanted. What I wanted was to be the conduit for this bigger thing. From the get-go, there has been this communal, like I said, like this communal generative feminist community that has taken on a life of its own, much bigger than what I could have come up with. It's about everybody shining, and the fact that like someone doesn't need to be, and by the way, this goes for like the greater community, not just the Good Move community, but like the Brooklyn community and other businesses and like, other business owners that I know. And it's like, I don't need someone else to dim their light so that I can shine. It's like, actually, the brighter that everybody is shining, the more shiny we all are. And like, that's how it is. And that is what kept me going. And to have the community then be like, what do you need? How can we help? Like, don't stop here, like sending me notes, like people that I don't know very well, like sending me encouraging words and sending me emails and encouraging me not to stop and offering help from all different sides. Like that's what really kept me going, because does that make sense? Like it's not just like the community's over there and I'm over here. It's like, it's my community too.
I'm curious, if you were to go back and had a chance to take another round at the year, if you could do it again, would you do anything differently?
Of course, like there were things that were so hard. Like this was the hardest year of my life. And like, I say that fully, with the full gratitude and awareness that in the hardest year of my life, like I didn't lose any loved ones and I didn't face police brutality and I was safe. My body was safe. I mean, aside from getting sick, like I have so much to be grateful for about my circumstances, right? And like I wouldn't give back those lessons. Like I needed to learn everything that I learned this year. I did everything that I could, and I don't know if there was another way. And a lot of businesses that were in the same position as me are facing lawsuits and are, shutting down forever. And so I don't know, mostly I feel a lot of gratitude. I think like one of the hardest lessons to stomach for me was that I put so much time, energy, and money into building out the first space. And then the time when we got the most engagement and we doubled our Instagram following and we, actually made money for the first time was when we didn't even have a studio. The physical space, the sort of other side of that was, wow, this doesn't rely on the physical space. This relies on the community, and the community and Good Move can live and thrive wherever this community is. It's not about having the, recognition in Domino magazine, which was really nice, and like all of the press that we got for that space, like that was really cool, but like it's not about that. It's actually about the material, the work that we're doing, and the physical space is the icing on top. Whereas when I first started it was the whole cake.
How much do you think that the physical space, though, allowed you to build the strength of the community that then was kind of able to both endure the pandemic, keep you going, and keep the business thriving?
Yeah, so this is like the glass half full thing, and I the space spoke for itself, and the space also set the stage to let people know as soon as they saw it, even before they came through the doors, that this space is warm, this space is inviting, this space is beautiful, it's thoughtful, it's intentional. I really do not believe that without the physical space, we would have been in as good a position, but like as good a position as we were when the pandemic hit. Because that space really was the birthplace of the greater community. It was in that space that people really connected to the brand in a different way. They really started to connect to the brand, to each other.
And what you know now, do you think that you could rebuild what you've built at Good Move without ever having a physical space?
No, I don't. I don't think that we could have done it without the physical space. Partially that's because I wouldn't want to do it without the physical space. If it was just me, if it was like Jules's studio, and if I was the kind of person who wanted to be on the internet all the time, and like, then sure, I could have done it without the space. But because there are so many people and there's this big community involved, it's really important for me that there is a place where we can all go and see each other and be with each other and feel each other's energy.
Our body, mind, emotional connection is extremely important in our well-being. And things like Good Move have just elevated in our priority list of how we want to spend our time and spend our money. Absolutely. I know everyone wants to know when is the new studio opening, and where is it going to be?
Hopefully mid-May, if not a couple weeks after that. And like I said, I'm trying to be really flexible with myself about when that happens. So if everything goes swimmingly with the contractor and we're able to get all the work done, again, it's not going to be the same kind of build out. We're just doing sort of cosmetic work on the space because we want it to feel like home. We want everyone who came to the studio before, we want everyone who met us for the first time online to feel a sense of familiarity and a sense of a home when they come into the space, even though they've never been there before. And the location is a beautiful, beautiful space. I love this story. I'm so happy I'm telling it to you first, Mo. 43 South 4th Street between Kent and Wythe. And it's in the Domino building, 325 Kent. And it is in the space that was formerly a yoga studio called Sky Ting, which is a really, really cool yoga studio run by 2 women. And to bring everything universally full circle, that space, when it was formerly Sky Ting, is the first place that we ever had a Good Move pop-up. And it's the first place that I taught the Good Move signature class for the first time. So that's just like,
perfect.
Tying it up in a nice little package.
Yes.
It was meant to be.
I cannot wait. Okay, what can your community do to continue to support you going forward, in addition to coming to check out the amazing new space?
The thing that I would wish for is that the community and the clientele trusts and allows themselves to put their faith in my instructors. Because as the company grows and as I sort of start to develop other creative ideas for Good Move and for the community, and there's some really, really exciting things in the pipeline, I am not going to be able to be in the studio every day. And I have invested a lot of time, energy, and money teaching new instructors and developing instructors to provide everything that I provide and more, in the space, and to teach all of our classes and to host workshops. And these people are incredible. They're incredible. They have taken my teacher trainings. They have listened to all of the feedback. They've onboarded it. They've worked so hard, and they are coming in with like incredible experience of their own that I don't have. So I guess my greatest wish is that the clientele will entrust the staff that I have, the team that I've put together, to carry them through when I am not physically there in the space, and also for them to know that while I might not physically be in the space myself, I am like working on stuff for all of us. So like, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna see the fruits of that, and you're gonna get to participate in some really, really cool, fun projects. Come through and take class with all of our new teachers and instructors and love on them the way that you guys have loved on me.
Thank you so much. We are so lucky to have you and Good Move and all of your incredible new instructors, which I know everyone's really excited to meet in the neighborhood and a part of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mel.